Hey, welcome to Cinema Gulp. This is Ben.
And this is John, and today we're going to do a Gulp review for Baywatch.
Grab your rescue floats and head for the beach. Or don't. Most probably shouldn't. And for the most part, I think we wish we never had. The Rock, Zach Efron, and a whole lot of hot chicks and one fat guy take on the beach and some pretty shitty baddies in the long-awaited feature film adaptation of the 90s classic Baywatch. So, John, what did you think of Baywatch?
Of Baywatch. Well, you know, I actually thought that the first 20 minutes were, like, humorous. I chuckled a few times and thought, maybe this isn't going to be as bad as the reviews might be saying it is, or as I've heard it's going to be. And then they start the investigation of this film. The plot supposedly kicks in, and all the humor seems to be drained from the film. I remember at one point, an hour into it, going, where did the jokes in this movie go? It just got so serious trying to play out this detective plot or whatever. It wasn't funny anymore. So it started kind of promising, and then it just fell flat the rest of the film.
Yeah, I didn't really find it to start out promising, but I agree with you. It fell apart pretty quickly once the trainee stuff was done. That was like the only stuff that was somewhat interesting, but it's a Baywatch movie. The show always dipped into this ridiculous, far-fetched group of lifeguards who are gonna stop drug rings on the beach and stop a child slavery ring. Obviously, they were going to push that in this because 21 Jump Street, everyone. The difference between 21 Jump Street, the movie and show, versus this movie and show is that 21 Jump Street was a very serious show, and it had talented actors with pretty decent writing.
No tattoos. We'll talk about it later. I ain't getting no tattoos. Okay, no tattoos.
And it was dark material, and the movie flipped that on its ass, and it was successful because it didn't really make fun of it. It just said, like, how ludicrous is this idea that these people are undercover in a high school, and it worked. And plus the writing was way, way, way better. But the thing about this movie is it's based off of an already really intentional or unintentional, I'd say more unintentionally, hokey, ridiculous show that was just about TNA, and it was over the top itself.
Parker requesting immediate backup, Tower 18.
So going in to make fun of that, you basically just had to take the approach the show took. And that's the problem with this movie, is that the jokes fall flat almost every time.
60% of the time, it works. Every time.
It has its campy side like the show, but it also has some really serious moments, and not serious moments, but they play it serious. Yeah, I thought that the Rock and Zach Efron actually gave some of their most dramatic performances in this film. Not because it needed to be that way, but that was the writing. That was what this plot was trying to push forth, was all of these serious bromance moments between the two of them, right, and trying to build their relationship, and none of that was funny.
Zach Efron's character, he's tragic. You don't know shit about anybody else, not even The Rock. He plays Mitch Buchanan, who everybody knows was Hasselhoff, and he's just a barrel of goofiness, and everybody loves him, and that's all you know about him. Zach Efron has this like dark past about being like an Olympic champion, and Zach Efron needs to get out of this, hey, I need to be in R-rated comedies thing and have my shirt off through 90% of the movie, but he's still good, I think.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see him break out and do something a little different, because this really feels like about the fifth time he's done this exact same role.
The Rock is getting better.
I'm believing him more as an actor and less as just a body that's up there and a badass.
That boy is good. Good and terrible.
He allowed himself to be stupid and look stupid in this, where he could have just been like, hey, I'm gonna be Hobbs from Fast and Furious, but instead he was like kind of a bumbling idiot.
His role was kind of weird because he was really taking the role serious, taking the job of this lifeguard who's gonna overstep his bounds and solve crimes. He was taking that very serious in the film. That part wasn't really played for jokes, the way he felt about his job, and that added that serious tone to the movie, which made the movie tonally all over the place.
You are absolutely right. This movie tonally is fucking all over the map. First of all, I don't like any movie where it feels like the editor is in his video game chair and he's playing with the speed of the movie, and he's changing the pitch of people's voices, or like fast motion, or he does something in reverse. There's so much fucking slow motion in this movie.
Why does she always look like she's running in slow-mo?
You see it too?
No, it was to be expected because I get it. They're playing off the thing from the opening of the show. Right, but it just, every new like beat that they wanted to introduce you to, there was a new hip hop song that had to start. The action scenes have really loud, explosive sound design. They're all shot well and they're all choreographed well, but there's a hip hop song going on in between them. Some of the rescue stuff and then even chasing down the perps was like a pretty well shot scene in my opinion.
Yeah, some of the stuff with jet skis and motorcycles. There was actually a really cool shot with the motorcycle on the pier. I'm not sure the technique that was used, but it was kind of a one-shot moment that stood out to me as like, when I saw it in the film, the thought that went through my head was, that moment was better than anything in Alien Covenant. That one moment of this film stood out to me as, wow, technically that was very cool.
You have your Summer character, you have your CJ Parker character, your Stephanie. They all do fine. You can touch on them if you want, but
I'd love to touch on them.
Yeah,
they're mostly very attractive, except for the schlub character.
So there's a creation in this movie that wasn't on the show. This guy kind of seems like a low-rent Josh Gad, and I just looked up his name, and it's John Bass. So it's like very similar. But he was supposed to be funny, and I kind of fucking hated him. Like, I didn't think he was funny at all. They're like, hey, look it, he's got love handles and flappy tits. So it's funny because he's a lifeguard. End of joke. You know, and everything they tried to have him do just fell with a thud, man, right?
Yeah, so many jokes fell with a thud in this movie.
I got no heart! Because a she-devil stole it!
Well, and speaking of seeing where things are going, when it comes to the plot or the caper or who the villains might be in this movie, everything is completely obvious to you. From the moment a character is introduced, you know what their motive is and how they play into this dumb plot. The scenarios they were putting them in were ridiculous and pointless.
But I did like the chemistry between The Rock and Zach Efron, and even Zach Efron and Alexandra Daddario.
Speaking of pointless, there was a couple cameos from the stars of the original show. There was no point to have that in there other than playing fan service.
It's so unbelievably horrible. It was sad. Like, the Hasselhoff one was sad because he talked. Pamela Anderson, that could have been anybody. Yeah.
I honestly think they did not want to show either of them in a bathing suit because of probably how their bodies look today.
Pamela Anderson still looks like she's in shape. She's just got her face tied in 50 knots in the back of her neck.
Exactly. That's why she couldn't speak.
Her lips will pop out if she speaks. It would have been so funny if Hasselhoff running in the shorts, like, because he's looking rough. Yeah, I don't know, man. The movie's it just wasn't good. I was kind of rooting for it, but it's not either of their faults. They didn't write it. They didn't direct it.
And I really think they gave it their all as best as they could.
Zac Efron was the standout in the movie for me as far as really capturing that goofiness of Matt Brody from the TV show.
I can't do this.
Yes, you can. Come on.
Come on, don't let him win. You could beat him.
I'm not jumping without you.
The standout for me was the little figurines of The Rock in his aquarium.
That was the funniest part of the movie.
Yeah. So for Gulp Gauge, my score for this movie would probably be a 3. I think it started off with a few jokes that I enjoyed, that the two leads gave it their best job that they could with a terrible script, but the movie just runs out of steam really early on and becomes kind of a slog to get to the end of it.
I could see there was people in the theater, lesser-minded people that obviously were really enjoying the movie and laughing way too fucking hard at every single joke. To gulp this movie, based on what it is, I gotta give it a 3.5. Okay, everybody, well, thanks so much for listening. Go out to the beach and stay away from Baywatch. Their lifeguards are shitty. They're doing anything but watching the beach. As usual, if you like this review, please leave some comments down in the comment section below and click like and or subscribe.
Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr as well. Look for us at Cinema Gulp.
Until next time, this is Ben.
And this is John. We drink your cinema.
I drink it up!
I'm not trying to pull you, even though I would like to. I think you are really fit. You're fit, but my gosh, don't you know it? You're fit, but you know it. But you know it. You're fit, but you know